Messages like this are floating around on the internet once again because Instagram has updated its terms of service. What a scandal. What a well, how dare they? Is what a lot of people say actually, because they like to be outraged as a hobby. Still, this time actually the changes are pretty significant. Actually, it's quite a lot of changes that are happening, and it's been the first change since 2 years, I believe. And because I was looking for a blog post or anything comparing the changes from what was before to what comes after December 20th, and I didn't find anything, I figured, well, we're just gonna go ahead, we're gonna deconstruct the new terms of service and the community guidelines, check what actually is different and what just the doomsday people love to talk about. Yeah, we're going in depth. So sit down, no chatting at all right? Right, so when you go into this Instagram help center where they have their terms of use, there's this thing coming up in the top. These terms will be updated effective 20. So this being the old one, the old version. As we can see, last revised April 19, 2018. Nobody knows why they have it twice there. Probably somebody was drunk in Instagram team. Oh, we're not allowed to talk about these things anymore. Hint. For all the things that are coming. And these are the new terms of use that are going to be effective December 20th. And if we just take a quick scroll through it, it's like, wow, it looks the same. Just actually looks the same. At least if you quickly scroll through it, like all of the journalists seem to do recently with all the news. Just scroll through it like this and then write an article about it. So what I did was to actually, fire them up inside Google Docs and compare these motherfuckers with each other. And the first thing that we can see is the old version that's effective until December 20th it's 15 pages long with 4,423 words. The new version, however, is 19 pages long, so 4 pages more and 5,821 words, which is quite a, quite a significant change if you ask me. More than 5 pages or 5 pages more than they had before. So let's take a look what actually is different and why it's different. So as we can see here, basically the red ones are changed things. First of all, nothing too fancy, nothing too significant. The only thing I can see right here is that they specifically say the Facebook terms of service do not apply to the service, meaning service Instagram, which is kind of good that they clarified that. And one thing that's always been in there, what a lot of people don't know, is by using Instagram, you waive the right to actually participate in a class action lawsuit. And it's kind of funny. They're like, all right, by using this, you waive all of your rights. You can't sue us in a class action lawsuit. For example, if we change the world in a way, and a lot of people have issues, get issues because of that, you waive the right to participate in a lawsuit, in a class action lawsuit. For example, when millions of people, through some miracle, but who knows, the world's a miracle recently, lose their jobs, for example, or have financial struggles because of Instagram. I'm just trying to get your juices flowing, but you waive this right. Welcome to Instagram. This is the initial statement that they kind of have in there. Whew. That's something they say, but here's the thing. It's nothing new. It's been in there since, for years. Actually, just some legal BS. Nobody's interested in that. Actually, the Instagram service, meaning what they do, their products, features, applications, right? They go into it by saying, well, we offer you personalized opportunities to create, share, communicate, blah, 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 relationships. If you read between the lines, you can actually check out what they're actually after. They're about relationships. This is what I always talk about. You have to strengthen that because they want to strengthen that. And if it's about the algorithm. We've talked about it extensively here on this channel. They want to be positive, inclusive, safe, which is a word that they kind of use in a way that makes me want to puke, to be honest. But we're not going to get into that. They have some wording changes here, which is interesting. Before they had it in there saying ensuring a stable global infrastructure for our service, which means a stable global infrastructure. Now they've cut the word. Apparently they don't want to ensure a stable global infrastructure for Instagram. Now they just want to ensure access. I don't know why they would change this if they don't have weird. So they don't want Instagram to be stable. Then they have a whole new paragraph in there how the service is funded. What's going on? Oh God, I just deleted that. Instead of paying to use Instagram, by using the services covered by these terms, you acknowledge that we can show you ads, blah, blah, blah. So just the wording again that they have kind of makes me want to puke, to be honest, because they're Instagram, one of the most influential companies ever, run by Facebook, owned by Facebook, probably the most influential online company, if you ask me, with certainly a lot of money. And they're like, instead of paying to use Instagram, so they're like kind of saying, well, we're doing something good for you to show you ads. I mean, of course, ads are part of the game, but their wording again, it just seems like they just want to circumnavigate our hearts. You know, sometimes I think they're just bad people, you know, which individually they probably are not. But just the way that they word these things, instead of paying to use Instagram, kind of making us guilty. Like, wow, thank you so much, Instagram. We don't have to pay to use your service. Thank you so much for giving us the ads. It's just some NLP bullshit or something. I don't know. I'm getting riled up again here, people. Kind of in a negative mood. Ever since my last video, it made me see a lot of things more clearly. Now, there's a section that has always been there about what you have to do. For example, you have to be 13 years of age, and something that not a lot of people know is that you must not be a convicted sex offender, which makes me think, how can they actually check that out? I mean, it's a good rule, but how can they actually check whether somebody's a sex offender? I know there's some lists, I think, or some database. But I think they just have that in there with no way of actually knowing whether somebody is a sex offender or not. Then they have something very interesting. The same section twice. So somebody just copied and pasted it and they didn't check. And here's the thing. It's still there in the new version as well. Now, there's a very small sentence in there how you can't use Instagram that actually has a lot of meaning to it, in my opinion. Like, yeah, we're providing a safe, blah, blah, blah. You can't impersonate others or provide inaccurate information. You don't have to disclose your identity on Instagram, but you must provide us with accurate and up-to-date information, including registration information. Blah.
Phoenix military... Sorry.
And now comes the part that they added, which may include providing personal data, whatever that means. Probably at one point they're going to be there asking you, well, here's the thing, snap a quick selfie or something to actually show us it's you, or show us your ID to actually ensure that it's you. You don't have to disclose your name there, but we have to know. Okay, government. Oh wait, somebody's calling me right now. 1984? Hello? Oh, you like what's going on? All right. Bye. I don't. What they also have is they changed their Instagram platform policy name to actually Facebook platform terms and developer policies and music guidelines. If you post branded content, you must comply with our branded content policies, which require you to use our branded content tool. I briefly talked about it, so I think in one of my live streams where I had some issues with that already because I did not disclose a branded content deal, which was not true. I just had the word sponsored by in a funny kind of way, as a satire way, but they still flagged me down and they were like, no, you bad person, you bad mother, we're gonna punish you for that, kind of, in a way. And I was like, and there was no way of me contesting that. There was no way of me actually saying, well, here's the thing, it's not a branded content, it's just jokes and fun. You know, not everything is always so serious as you always think. You can't do anything to interfere with or impair the intended operation of the service. They say you can't misuse reporting or dispute or the appeals channel. It's a common thing recently. You know, a lot of bots actually, or a lot of people actually just report some profile because they don't agree with what they say, and then it gets taken down by their algorithms automatically. And if they figure out that people are actually misuse this feature by doing that, yeah, you get some problems. Probably you're going to get your accounts banned or something. Another thing they have, it's always been in there, they kind of just changed it a little bit, is that apparently you can't sell, license, or purchase any account or data obtained from us, meaning you're not allowed to buy, sell, or transfer any aspect of your account, including your username, because there's some people going around saying, for example, heyDominik account, somebody's calling me, the real heyDominik, in case you didn't know. I actually kidnapped the other guy that you saw 2 years ago. Let's just say he's calling me and he's like, yeah, here's the thing. I'm going to offer you $20,000 for your account. Like they did on YouTube with me, saying $70,000. It's not allowed. And if they figure that out, bad for you. Also, badges. For example, the verified badge. You're not allowed to buy that, obviously. It should be clear that these verified DMs that a lot of people get from verified people asking them, yeah, I can get you verified. Just pay me. I'm official from Instagram. Yeah, obviously these are fake and these are against their terms of service. The other things are basically some spam things, some scrapers that actually scrape some information, and some bot things in there with tokens and stuff. I don't want to confuse you too much. Now, you can't post someone else's private or confidential information without permission, obviously, and also including intellectual property. For example, trademark, copyright, counterfeit, and pirated goods, which is interesting. So you're not allowed to post counterfeit goods. So if, let's say, you have a fake Rolex, it's a real one, but just saying, if you have a fake Rolex that a lot of influencers have, actually, it's not allowed. So obviously, they probably don't have a way of telling that. They don't have as sophisticated algorithms to actually say, well, this is counterfeit or not. But still, it's a very interesting direction where they're going. I don't know if I think that's a good thing, because I thought we were in a free world, and if somebody has a fake Louis Vuitton bag and they want to flex with it, so be it. All right. Why do you have to come here and play police once again? So just my opinion about that. Obviously, I don't agree with that myself, of people having fake things and flexing with fake counterfeit goods or pirated goods. But then again, why do you have to ban these things? It's just like your opinion, man. Also talking about copyright infringement. Here's the thing. I read somewhere they have a new tool where you can actually check them. You can tell them, well, this is my post or this is my video. And they check with their content ID system. They actually figure out whether some account has reposted your photos or not. And then you can say, I'm going to hit them with a copyright strike or something like this. I'm going to make a video about this. Another thing that they talk about is you can't basically clone Instagram, obviously, or reverse engineer. Jane Wong, for example, right now, she's, shout out to her. It's probably illegal what she does. Right now, they don't like it. Another thing that's always been in there, and nobody ever talked about it, or probably nobody knew about it, is you can't use a domain name or URL in your username without prior written consent. Question is, how can you get... Question is why, and question is how you get this consent, because Instagram are not known to be responding to requests in a timely manner. So let's say my username is heyDominik.com, which a lot of people actually have in their usernames. They don't like that. So if you have a domain as your username, I would probably think twice about using it. Maybe it's part of why some of you guys are shadow banned or have lower reach. I'm just guessing here, but if they explicitly state that in there, who knows? Now, here's the thing. Here's the big thing that a lot of people talk about. They're like, well, right now, Instagram can use your content and you don't have the rights anymore to your content. And the doomsday people are just mass messaging these things. And they've never had that before. They always say, they still say it here, we do not claim ownership of your content, but you grant us a license to use it. Obviously, they don't really mean that they can use your content and make a huge billboard or TV ad with it. Maybe it can be in the background somewhere. But what the main thing what they talk about in there is you have to grant them a license, because otherwise they would not be allowed to have it on their platform, meaning you can't share posts then on Instagram. So yeah, that's just the thing. Also, they explicitly state right now, you're free to share your content with anyone else wherever you want. Because, a lot of people have been saying, well, if you upload on Instagram, you're not allowed to post it on Snapchat, for example, or TikTok. It's just a exclusive deal or something like this. Not the case. Not the case. So don't worry about this. Now, the interesting thing, again, somebody apparently copied and pasted this whole thing again, because it's in there twice. This makes me think, why? Now on to the next part here, content removal and disabling or terminating your account. And this seems like the thing that they got a boner feeling that they can disable or terminate your account or restrict your account whenever they talk about this. And if you read their press releases, most of the things under talk about disabling accounts or restricting things and just stuff like this under the guise of safety.
I love restrict.
You might think about it however you want, but sometimes you have to be really careful with stuff like this. We don't want to become a censorship community, you know, talking about cancel culture and all of these things that are going on around right now, which obviously is not the way to go. Even though you might hate somebody's guts and absolutely disagree with their opinion, but by just blocking and deleting those people that they always talk about in there and say, well, just block them, restrict them.
I love restrict.
You're just nurturing this whole echo chamber that's going around on the internet. So they're like, well, if you're not part of the community guidelines, which we're going to talk about in a second, we can't terminate or change the service, remove or block content or information shared on our service, or stop providing all or part of the service if we determine that doing so is reasonably necessary to avoid blah, blah, blah. So for example, they talk about shadow banning in this. I'm pretty sure they talk about that because what would they mean about changing the service? And then basically just some boring legal stuff that's coming around. But one thing they refer to is also the community guidelines, Instagram community guidelines. And while they don't really say that those have changed, and while they just say, well, this has changed, there's going to be a new terms of service, actually all of these things that are under that are also changed as well, which they don't really talk about, especially the community guidelines. As we can see right here, they don't say they've changed. They're actually not so long as well. But, my friends, they have changed because I have been making some copies of the community guidelines and the terms of service in the background all the time, every other month. And turns out I have a version from 2019. Obviously, they have put in this one paragraph about COVID. We're not going to talk about it right now, but they did change a little bit. For example, they say, in some cases, we do allow some content that usually would get deleted and would go against our community guidelines if it's newsworthy and in the public interest. We do this, all right? Don't ask me why they do, okay? They can't do this. And now there's some interesting things coming up. For example, they have changed quite a lot on the nudity sector. There's been quite a lot of people who who actually earn some money with, you know, with the OnlyFans or with some other nudity content, which might not necessarily be porn. And it's always been like that. They were never too keen on nudity. But right now, the only thing they have done right here is they put a link there, and it's German. Don't ask me why. But they talk about what's okay or not. For example, anus. It's not okay. We're not going to talk about this right here, but something that is more and more interesting is to foster meaningful and genuine interactions, aka don't use bots, don't use DM groups and stuff like this. For example, one thing they did was to have a link in the spam-free section, talking about what's allowed, what they consider as spam or not. For example, don't post, share, engage with content, or create accounts, groups, pages, events, blah, 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 either manually or automatically at very high frequencies. So things that we always talked about. And then they have a whole new paragraph in there about very interesting stuff. For example, don't offer money or giveaways of money in exchange for likes, followers, comments, or other engagement. What exactly they mean, I'm not entirely sure, but if you have a giveaway going on, maybe they're cracking down on giveaways. I'm not too sure what exactly they mean. We're gonna have to wait and see, actually. I've actually seen some giveaways get shut down already. So maybe that's about that. And there's also some very weird other sentences in there. For example, Instagram also prohibits the sale of live animals between private individuals. Like, why? There has to have been some weird case before that, because every rule has some weird story attached to it, because brick and mortar stores may offer live animals. So if I say, well, I have a dog, who wants to buy my dog? Don't ask me why I would sell my dog, because I don't have one. I'm not allowed to sell that, but if I have a brick and mortar store, if they, as they say, you're allowed to do that. So don't ask me that. Respect the members of the Instagram community, obviously. You know, no hate speech and stuff like this. Which still, in my opinion, hate speech is a very loosely defined term. You know, and the real meaning of hate speech, obviously, nobody wants that. You're not allowed to degrade or shame people, which makes me think, am I allowed to criticize somebody or not? Because there's a very fine line between those two things. So yeah, obviously serious threats of harm to public and personal safety are not allowed. And basically then they just added a few more links in there to basically clarify some things. So what does this tell us? There's some changes, but there's not those huge changes those people were always talking about. Mainly the things are just clarifying things a little bit further. Some things were added, some things we have to weigh what they actually mean. It's become a little bit more restrictive in my opinion. In my opinion, they try to play a little bit more thought police, which I obviously don't like, but that's just the way the world works right now, I guess. Anyway, so that was a video, huh? Comment down below if you still made it until here. I haven't. I had to stop this video and go to the spa twice, actually, to have a massage. So I'll see you in a few days with a little bit more entertaining content, hopefully. And my name's Dominic. Bye.